High performers don't let mistakes hold them back.
Exactly.
I love it. You mentioned a couple of things that I really loved. In particular, being responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. I've thought about getting a big neon sign that says be responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. And I'm
Mhm.
not into bypassing people's feelings or gaslighting the
Right.
situation, but at the same time, that leadership, that character of saying, okay, right now I need to activate the best of who I am because it matters. Hello, and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. I'm so excited to keep going with this series on the coaches that don't suck. And we were talking about some of the qualities that really make an amazing coach amazing. Sara, I'm so excited. I could go on and on about how awesome you are. You're a best-selling author, you're a high performance coach, a consultant, a speaker, a CPA. You've done a lot, you've been through a lot. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, Amanda. I appreciate you sliding into my DMs so we can make this happen.
Before we started the show, we were talking about how important connection really is for
Mhm.
coaches and how it can be hard sometimes. And I was so glad that you were receptive to a conversation.
Especially for another CHPC, anything.
Sara, just take 30 seconds and tell us what brought you to coaching. Why this?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Set my ladder on the wrong building, maybe, or climbed the wrong ladder. Like I went to school as a CPA and went from a bank teller to an executive director of finance. I realized that after hitting burnout as that executive director of finance, I loved leading and helping others learn and grow more than I did the numbers. So I stepped away from the calculators and the computers behind my desk and started helping others lead and grow. As I sought a coach for myself, I saw how beneficial it was. And I shifted over to coaching and consulting and speaking and all of the things where I didn't think an accountant would ever go.
That's amazing. That's so inspiring. I love that metaphor of, I think I put my ladder on the wrong building. Yeah, that resonates for me too. I had a similar realization about 10 years into my consulting career. And just like you, it turned out that I had this genius zone I was using at work, but I wanted it to become like the main thing, not just the side thing. I'm so curious, when you're working with people, what do you hold true as the top three things that you bring to the table or that you show up as a coach that differentiates from just an average coach? How do you make sure you're showing up with full power as a coach yourself?
First of all, I appreciate that. I made it to the level where I am not a coach.
Congratulations. We should have a
Thank you.
certificate
I know. It's
podcast.
like, I think the biggest thing is what Brennan Burchard teaches us in CHPC and high performance coaching is that your habits create your lifestyle. I
Mhm.
learned that firsthand from burnout, which was a death of a thousand cuts, like all of these little habits that I had created or neglected, and it created a lifestyle of burnout. So I had to flip that script and be like, okay, if I want a better life because the one I'm living right now is not sustainable, how can I recreate that same practice, but in a better way so that I can
I
actually
love
design
it.
the life that I want. Being coached by a high performance coach was incredible for me because I realized that was something that I needed because I was always into personal fitness and still am. I got a personal trainer for my body. It's like, why can't I get one for my mind? So I realized that being able to work on habits and also be disciplined with it can create the life that you want. I ended up in the ER with a migraine that was so bad because I've had them for 30 plus years, but they weren't as bad as the one that I got when I was in burnout and lots of other issues during that time. Realizing that your habits create your lifestyle. So that would be my first one. The second one is really being able to have a support system. And that was something that I know for a lot of people, I know for myself, like it's hard to ask for help. If you made it to the top alone, you did something wrong. How can we rely on others? And whether that's friends, family, support groups, other coaches, having a coach or mentor of your own, therapy, whatever it is, like having that support and being able to give and receive it. And the third thing I would say is showing up as a role model. That's something that I have learned throughout my life, that it doesn't matter what title you have, you can be a leader wherever you are. People are always watching. I realized that when I was executive director of finance, my staff knew exactly how the meeting I was just in went by the way I walk through the door to my office. I need to be cognizant of the energy I'm bringing into the room and make sure that I am showing up at, at all times as my best self, but ensuring that I'm also raw and real as well. And I'm not hiding things from them. It's, yeah, these things are happening, these things are coming, and just being transparent and honest with people, because otherwise stories start.
Oh, I love this. Just for
Mhm.
recapping, it was
Mhm.
habits, it was the role model, and the middle one was
Oh, so
good.
what was the?
When you have ADHD, just don't.
I
Like when
know
you're
this
eating,
whole.
don't recap live. Okay. So let's just move on then.
Let's just move on. You can rewind.
Yeah, you got a rewind button
A
whenever you
surprise.
want.
Go back and rewind.
High performers don't let mistakes hold them back. So
Exactly.
I love it. You mentioned a couple of things that I really loved. In particular, being responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. I've thought about getting a big neon sign that says be responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. And I'm
Mhm.
not into bypassing people's feelings or gaslighting the
Right.
situation, but at the same time, that leadership, that character of saying, okay, right now I need to activate the best of who I am because it matters.
Totally. I know that we're all going to have our ups and downs, so we are not perfect human beings by any means. But if you can intentionally do that, it makes such a huge difference. It can really set the tone for the day, the week, the hour, just like it sets the tone. And you're responsible for that. Inputs come in, you process it internally, and then you shove something out there to the world. Shove something positive if you can.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to be shoveling something, make it positive. That brings me to the other piece, which was around being real and raw. If there's a
Mhm.
behavior that I see a lot in the industry, it's this need to be super perfect before anyone sees you. It's almost like this compulsion to step out onto this huge red carpet instead of showing up to the work every day, meeting yourself where you're at and growing wherever you want to. I know for me, that held me back forever. Like you mentioned, you were really into training and had a physical trainer. So then you were like, of course, I want to have a coach for my high performance and my mental health. I was like the opposite. I worked on my mental health and worked with a high performance coach. And then that helped me feel permission to go work with a physical trainer. So it's really
Nice.
interesting. But talk to me a little bit about how in your journey you've really figured out, or maybe you still are figuring out, how
Mhm.
to be the right kind of real and raw for you as you're building your business.
Yeah, that's a great question. That was actually number two. Have the right support system around you.
It was support system. You
That's
just
the
got to
first.
keep doing the
I know.
work and you will get there.
Yeah.
Habits, support system. Goodness.
Uh-huh.
Love it.
And role model. Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting because there is such a big connection. Mine was physical first because I had so many physical symptoms. And I also have scoliosis. When I was a teenager, they found it, but I went to a spine surgeon and they're like, okay, your spine right now is at 25-degree curvature. Come see us when you're at 40 and we'll stick rods in your back. And I'm like, I don't want that.
Talk
So
about
I've
a
been in physical
motivation.
therapy for 20 years to keep my spine as straight and solid as possible so that my whole body doesn't collapse. So I've been very much into my physical health. Once I was in burnout, this is not how I'm supposed to be. This is detrimental. Like I am not going to make it to 50. So I needed to shift things around. I need to prioritize my health. And then I also need to have a life. So I was thinking, what's the finish line that everyone wants to make it to? It's usually retirement. I don't feel like I'm going to make it there. So I started bringing moments that I wanted to do in retirement into my life now. There's that mortality motivation, right? Where I got to do things now, YOLO, whatever it is. But I realized that I missed out on so much of my life because I was sacrificing for others and for a job that I had to start thinking about myself. It might be a little selfish, but when I show up better for myself, I show up better for everyone. So why not work on me so that I can do great work for others?
I love this so much. Oh my gosh, Sarah, how have we not spent way more time together way
I know.
sooner? A couple of things came up for me there, which was around the role of wake up calls. I think this is another area that we as coaches, coaching really is a leadership position. And I love that the
Mhm.
Certified High Performance Coaching Program teaches this, that it is a leadership influencing role. Even if you don't totally buy into that, hey, all leadership starts with self leadership.
Yep.
I'm honestly trying to think of a coach that I know well who doesn't have some kind of a wake up call backstory
Hmm.
where they used it, the great coaches use those setbacks to be the setups for what they're going
Exactly.
to do in the future. But what I notice a lot of coaches will do is when they encounter the next setback, they forget that they have all those tools and they go, "Oh, I should be so embarrassed and I should retreat from public life and just never mind. I don't have a right to coach anybody else." And it's, whoa, hang on. Can you talk
Right.
to us about the role of wake up calls for you? Maybe what led you to become a coach, but maybe even as if you're cool sharing, like maybe what's been a setback or two on the journey of building this business. And then what'd you do about it?
Oh, totally. There's been so many. When you have those setbacks, we don't always realize that it's a setup for our future. But then also understanding that when you do overcome something like that, we don't integrate it as much. And Brennan talks about that, integrating your wins to ensure that you are leveling up. I always think of video games. They start you out at the easy level, and then they don't just start you out the boss at the end of the video game. Like they're going to start you out easy, and then they progress you all the way through the game. So I think about it that way. It's okay. I'm at the easy levels right now. I'm just trying to incorporate some wins, get some motivation, and as I level up, I strongly believe that if you want your business to scale, you have to level up with it. Like it needs to be parallel, right? Like we need to be going at a parallel direction and we need to level up with our business. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck whatever
One of
our
my
business
programs is
is.
called Level Up because
I
of that
love that.
very idea. Yeah. And it is a game,
Oh
but
my
keep going,
gosh, it's
keep
so
going.
perfect. We do need to talk more. Some of the biggest things that I didn't realize, I worked really hard for my career. I passed a CPA exam. I would work full time, go to college and spend 4 hours a couple nights a week at a CPA exam prep class. I took the test for a couple years so I could work, and I rode on a crew team competitively. Like I was doing all the things, and I did all of that hard stuff. Why am I having issues with going live on Instagram? Why am I having an issue with this little thing when I've done these huge things? It's because I didn't remember of those things that I actually did. So it's reflecting on those things. Here's the things that I've done that are hard. But when you do come up on something new, you can't really be afraid to be starting small, right?
Yeah. Kind of
Like
be
it's
bad at
hard.
it to get good at it.
We all start there. I've worked so many decades to be a CPA. I wasn't a CPA when I first started. I was just a bank teller. I worked my way up and it was okay to be a bank teller. I ran that drive through. I was good. But being able to understand that it's okay, like I shifted careers. It's okay for me to start at the bottom again. I'm not going to be a high level executive as a coach right when I jump in. So realizing that really helped me. But then something that I didn't expect throughout the way is the fact that when you do start a new journey, it's very humbling. And we've talked about that. It's such a gift because as you help others, they're actually teaching you as much as you're teaching them.
I
And then,
love that about coaching. It's such a
right?
mirror.
Because you're supposed to be a mirror for them. That could be something that I'm working on
Yeah,
too.
you're
And
making like
like,
side notes in the
I
margins of your
know.
notes.
Oh, that's a good book. Thank you for that recommendation. Just realizing that it's a leveling up for everyone. And you get to share that as you are a mirror for your coaching clients. You're practicing being a mirror, and then you're starting to see the people that you've attracted into your life or that are around you. It's like, how are they a mirror for me? And then I just started, oh, I'm lacking this, or I feel like I need this. So why is that? And this person represents that in my life or something like that. Does
That's
that ever happen for
interesting.
you?
1,000%. The thing I was going to ask about next is actually around people pleasing. When I think about what compels a person to do something so heart-led as being a coach for other people, I actually posted a reel about this the other day. I'm like, what if most coaches are dealing with this codependency thing, which
Oh
is
my
another way
gosh.
of saying people pleasing?
Hmm.
What would be a top tip that you would have if someone suspects that they're either wrestling with people pleasing or they want to move past people pleasing? What would be your top tip on that?
It's very interesting because I've been
We could
a
do a whole
lifelong,
podcast on people pleasing,
lifelong
but
people pleaser. And it really starts to figuring out one, first of all, being aware of it. And then it's like, where did this come from? Trying to dig to the root cause. Over the last few years, I've realized that I'm willing to do the hard work and figure out the root cause, no matter what truth I have to unearth out of my subconscious. I'm okay with it because on the other side of that, whether it's fear or avoidance, there's freedom. And it doesn't hang you up anymore. You're carrying that baggage around for the rest of your life. And I don't want that anymore. I want to face this and get rid of it. I'm more of a close the loop type of person. If there's a outstanding issue, I want it. Maybe that's part of the accountant in me. I want it to balance. I need to figure out why it's not balancing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so good. I think my own journey with people pleasing is the same thing. You got to get to that root.
yeah,
And what I've learned along the way too is I went through a bit of a pendulum swing the other direction where
100%.
you did the same thing.
Yes, I just realized one of my
I think it's easy to do, right?
it
Because you
is.
realize, oh, wow, this is bad. Let's just go up to the extreme opposite. And it's, I don't need people. I don't want to interact with people. I'm going to put a big wall up. And it's out of a protection reflex, but it's still driven by people pleasing. So until you really get to that root, I heard it described really beautifully the other day as what's your motive when you're being nice, when you're being kind, when you're helping somebody else? Just check in on that motive. Are you doing it so that they will be happy so that you can be happy? Or is it coming from a higher place?
Mhm.
And I really loved that because I basically learned I was like, I love seeing people pleased.
Mhm.
I'm just not a people pleaser.
No, I totally resonate with that. There's so many things where you think it would just be easier to just say yes to whatever they want, taking on the things where you're not really prioritizing your own needs versus others. And that's something that when going through burnout again, it was my biggest game changer in life. I said yes to way too many things and I sacrificed myself for a job and I sacrificed all the other areas of my life because I was just laser focused on doing the best that I can at this job. I realized that I had to leverage my ambition because I was very driven and focused, but I had to make sure that I had a well balanced life as well. I needed people in my life. I needed fun in my life because I stopped rowing when I was in burnout. I didn't do the things that make me a person and make me laugh and have fun and be a good human being.
I love
So
that.
realizing that, I had to realize that being laser focused on something is a gift and a curse for me. And I want to leverage it in a way where it is more of an asset for me and not a liability, making sure that I can actually leverage that ambition. And I figured out the pendulum swing, which was like why it is. When I was in burnout, I thought I was going to die in a few years. It wasn't sustainable. I was in the ER. I had a migraine that lasted 5 days. And I also had a miscarriage, but I've cured all the migraines. I don't get migraines anymore, knock on wood. Like I've been able to figure it out and I've lost weight and gained muscle. I'm a completely different person, but I had to do the internal work. The pendulum swing I've realized is that my drive is mainly that mortality motivation. I have a zest for life. I want to make sure that I'm living my life to the fullest because I sacrificed so many years and that's what's driving me.
That's so good. I love it. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today. We need to schedule a new one and it needs to be like 4 hours long because
Yep.
this is so much fun. But Sarah, if people wanted to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
I'm on most socials, but the best one would be Instagram, Sara Centanni Coaching.
Perfect. And you were talking about being powerful and everything. I heard you had maybe a little something that people could ask for you if they
Yeah.
see the word power.
If you DM me powerful in my DMs, I will send you a productivity guide that I created. It's called Pretty Powerful.
Pretty powerful. I love
Yeah.
it. Amazing. Sarah, thank you so much. Listener, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Be sure to share this conversation with your friends. We really appreciate your support. We're looking to help as many coaches have amazing businesses and impact. Thank you so much for joining.